Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Queen's Wish. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today as I ramble about things. Because we're learning about the Masha and the Owen, and this slaver over here who owns, Vitar? Murta, maybe? It's a city. We're in a city, and we have missions to do. And he pretends that he doesn't own slaves. He was telling us about things. He was saying about us being too eager to judge. I'm sure you know the basics, he says. When a free vol goes too far into debt, a Masha can pay that debt. In return, the free vol becomes Owen and must serve the Masha for life, plus another generation or two more if the debt is high enough. And I rambled about that already, so I won't ramble again. What do you think of the Owen system? It maintains the honor of our people, and it brings justice. I cannot tell. The game isn't. I honestly cannot tell. Like I cannot tell what if the game takes this seriously as a justification that anybody. So it's obvious that the game is not, an apology for slavery. That much is very clear, obviously. But it isn't grounded in historical defenses of slavery systems. If you read about, well, for the most part, the defenders of slavery didn't work based on, these things are nonsense. This maintains the honor and brings justice. Seriously? Freaking slavery maintains that. That's not, what kind of hoops do you have to go through to even come to such a conclusion as a person, let alone as a you're trying because it's a fiction, right? So we are getting this the first time, we are not in this, we as players are not in this society, so we need to, it's even harder for us, and as a game character you need to have different attitudes to be able to explain your situation to other people. But if you look at the defenders of slavery throughout history and today, because there are still that sort of scum in the world, you often will find justifications more grounded on practicality, more grounded on just how pragmatical slavery can be as a system, and just ignore all the downsides of it, namely the fact that you're treating people like property, or other aspects, of course, the fact that they are dehumanized, and then they're abused and all that other sort of stuff. But specifically, usually the justifications tend to be things like they have a better life. It's better to work for me for life than to starve to death in the desert, which is super gross as a defense. And honestly, it would even be gross. It's certainly more gross because it's grounded in reality. It's certainly more gross than this nonsense of a defense. But at least it makes more sense from a character perspective. There is a reason why people are lulled or pretend to believe stuff like that. That it's better to be a slave than to die out. And because it's called a false dichotomy, that's why it's gross, and there's other things as well why it's gross, but that's one sort of argument that is very common. There's other arguments that are maybe grounded in history, for example, where, throughout history, for sure, that happens, where certain people are enslaved, and that enslavement is justified because of the past of enslavement that those people have had, and it's basically they're slaves and they deserve to be slaves because they were slaves all their life, like for centuries. You know what I mean? That's another justification. There's another justification, which is that which is coupled. Another common justification is coupled with the. And actually, here it would work a little bit with this justification of the debt thing. Which is the justification that is super gross as well, of course, and grounded in just plain racism a lot of the time, which is that people who are slaves don't deserve to be free because of whatever, because they're not smart, or because they're cursed, or because their god is wrong or something like that. There's a lot of justifications throughout history for that, and here maybe it would work like that. It still would be pretty gross. Like any sort of justification for slavery is super gross, but maybe you could say something like that would be rooted in history and believable that a person says that, because people do say that. Something like, oh, they fell into debt, so it's better for them to work for other people since they can't manage their own credit cards. Let's stick with that narrative because I think it works here. They have credit cards and they pay their rent. They cannot own houses, and that's why they fall into debt. It's not really the case, but I don't think the writers thought of it that far. Anyway, the point is, he's saying that it maintains honor of our people and it brings justice. And honestly, for this honor thing, this is not the first time that we heard this take. And I think it was somebody outside of the Vol that, or whatever. Are we in the Vol? Yeah. It was somebody outside of the Vol that said they're honorable people. And I that argument is the same argument that that they say, oh no, don't call the Owen slaves because they get upset. They think you're insulting them, or something, because they still have their pride. Wastes. So it's like, anyway, I ramble. That's my ramble about that one sentence. That's that. If someone is lazy or foolish and loses a fortune, why shouldn't that person be punished? Why should he's sort of pushing that thing that I was talking about. Why should others suffer to pay the debts of the Owen? Yeah, that's, you just, yeah, it's just, the game, I don't, it's like, what? The game has a chance, any fiction has a chance to, express, how should I put this? If you're gonna write a fiction with somebody who defends slavery, you're necessarily gonna reveal what you feel about slavery through the way that person defends slavery. Not necessarily, you're not gonna be saying the things that you think, obviously, but you're gonna be. It's a satire in a way, in a sense. You can be, you can just say exactly, like to the letter, the defenses that people use for slavery, but that's still a revealing. That's still revealing of the way you understand the defenses, and the fact that you choose to make people say what they say is a way for you to express what you feel, even though you're saying the opposite of what you feel. You know what I mean? Anyway. What I mean is, my conclusion to that is, the writer decided to make it as nebulous as possible. I think from a pragmatical standpoint, like in a gameplay wise, so that you could choose the path of helping the Masha without being guilted. You know what I mean? Without feeling like you're just siding with the Nazis, effectively. I say Nazis, but just anyway, it's a lot of slavery everywhere throughout history and even today. But you know what I mean? It's like, I think that the writer decided to make these guys as nebulous as possible, so that this is sort of, but yeah, look at all those justifications. That's nothing too hard about that. Let's just side with them and see what that gives us in this playthrough if you're siding with the Masha. But I think that has the super unfortunate consequence, even though it very likely is rooted in gameplay, for gameplay reasons. It has the super unfortunate consequence it just seems like the writer doesn't know what slavery is. And I don't think that's the case. I find it pretty hard for it to be the case, because, yeah, it's most likely just really due to the fact that they're trying to make these guys playable, if you want to side with them. Anyway, pay your own debts. It is the honorable Vol way, even though it's your Masha who pays your debts, and you then become enslaved for life. And your kids, if apparently your house is too big. Don't ask. Because why did the Owen rebel then, if they're not slaves? Perhaps we Masha were not wise. Perhaps we let things grow too difficult for the free people of the Vol. Too many taxes. Too much debt. Is he saying that they don't actually pay their credit card. They pay taxes. That is even worse. It grew too easy to become Owen. That is super worse. When the Masha win the war, I'm sure they will introduce reforms. I need to kill this guy right now. So, what he's saying is that the Masha who own slaves tax the free people into becoming slaves. Right. That's the situation here. Lovely. The problem with it being nebulous is that the moment you start thinking about it at all, you just realize that there's no way to side with these people. Unless you want to just go with the evil side, of course. But if you're going to go with the evil side, if one of these sides is going to be evil, which one of these sides is evil, then they're like, why is it nebulous? Why is it not? Why can you not see the? Because at the same time, like, the thing is, people who are not victims of the history of slavery, certainly people who aren't victims of slavery, but people who aren't victims of the history of slavery, and by that I mean whose ancestors were slaves, tend not to, well, they don't necessarily, depends on the country, I suppose, and depends certainly on the family, but they are not necessarily aware of how pervasive some arguments in favor of slavery are in society. So it's possible, and I know this firsthand, for people who, if you ask them, is slavery okay? And they say, oh, no, slavery, oh, bad, very bad. But it's possible for you to catch them or ask them arguments that are used in favor of slavery, and for them to agree with those arguments, and for them to say those arguments. And so that's one of the reasons why some types of propaganda work so well. It's because people aren't educated enough in the history of the defense of tragic, awful crimes like this, and so they don't see certainly they don't see the red flags in arguments that are used for in defense of slavery and other systems like that. And certainly they don't see what's known as dog whistles, because then it becomes a lot more. It's a lot more complicated, and it becomes a matter of social capital of the people who defend racist systems and stuff like that in modern society. I'm talking about modern society, but in history, the same applies. So if people were a little bit more aware of the arguments that are used to defend slavery, maybe they wouldn't fall to certain arguments so as much as they do. So, every time you make a system, you make a fictitious world, every time you do that and you have people defending slavery, it's a good time to put actual arguments in there because it's more believable. And also because people just like, when they see things in video games and then they see things in real life and they say, that argument didn't work in the video game. Why is it working? It doesn't work in real life either, does it? But you know what I mean? It's like, how many Owen do you own? This guy. I have 2 double-line Owen. I assure you that I treat them well, and I will treat their children well as well. After all, they are my workers, but they are not slaves. They aren't slaves? No! Exclamation mark. And they will be very offended if you call them such. I certainly won't be. They will be. I'm not. I'm good. They are true vol. They can have their own homes, families, beliefs. I can't sell them to others. They serve only me and my descendants. It is simply that. When they work, they must work for me, doing what I say. Are Owen ever mistreated? They're slaves, by the way. They're slaves. Of course, sometimes. I wonder if I asked, are your Owen ever misleaded or mistreated? It is very dishonorable. Much shame attaches to those who mistreat Owen. They must then take their Owen from the cities into the wastes. Few Masha let it go that far. Wait, they die? The Owen who are mistreated die? That sounds actually, that sounds like a thing that has historical precedence. Double-line Owen. My Owen let their debts be so great that not only they but their children must serve my family for life. Unfortunate cases. I bought them because I pitied them, and I wanted them to work for a family of status. Sure. I'm sure. I have some Haven business to discuss. He leans forward, his eyes grow sharp. Do you? Of course. I may be able to help you, within limits. I want to rebuild Haven's forts. I see. They are Fort West Bay and Crossing Keep, yes? On land we promised you. They are your forts. I'm sure you can rebuild them. We Mashas want to show... probably not plural, just Masha. Want to show that we are useful to you. Fort West Bay is west of Itassa. To get to Crossing Keep, pass through Tablen Pass to the west. Then go south. Well, I've rebuilt one of the forts. Yes, the Masha helped with With that, we made sure General Aquila's caravans and guards were safe from raiders. The Masha only want to be useful to Haven. In return, we hope you are useful to us. Yes. That's all. Then enjoy the safety of Murba. It is the only oasis for miles around. As far as I am aware, oases are also seasonal. By that I mean they don't exist all year. It's in northern Africa, which is where most oases exist, I would say. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what we have around here. Do you have anything in here? We do not. Okay, so we're going south. Somewhere. Chief Garvin. Tahlen Pass? Nope. It's over there. So I need to go through Madraka? Well, I'm not going through Madraka. We're going to... Fort West Bay. Because I need to heal. I need to level up. Let's see what we have. We have... No, what? Didn't we level up? I was talking about leveling up. I'm very bad. I'm very bad. I'm very sorry. And very bad. How did you come to be? Yep. Man, this land just... I ramble. I ramble. This region is under control. I want to ask you to... I suspect you will be waiting... The capital loyalist. Yeah, I still haven't gone to the capital. Yeah, there's nothing here. Okay. Let's potentially go to the capital. We'll see. I don't want to go there though. Chief Gervin. No, that's the one. Yeah. Let's go over here to the Tablen Pass. And we have been here before. It's just no, we have a save from the beginning of the episode. We're good. We have the pass guard. Owen can't be trusted, he says. But they're not slaves. Definitely not systemically oppressed. Not at all. Oh. Commander Hazes. With some stuff in here. A Blade Master rune. That's actually pretty powerful. The Vol sitting at this desk rises to greet you. Welcome. He looks at the insignia on your chest and nods. I am Commander Hazes Masha of Tablen Pass. Thank you for checking in. He's very young for a commander. Barely in his 20s. As he talks to you, he keeps shuffling through the papers on his desk looking for instructions. It's an awkward conversation. You're a Masha? Of course. Only one with status should be trusted in a post like mine. I'm Prince Jeff of Haven. Hazes nods. Yes, here. He pulls a scroll out of a pile of sheets and reads it. His lips move as he does, which makes sense. Oh no, I thought he was reading it out loud. He's just he's reading it in his mind. You try to ask something, but he shakes his head. Sorry, I have guidance about you. One moment. He reads through his instructions twice, and finally he sets the scroll aside, but he's ready to grab it again in an instant if he gets confused. So, Prince of Haven, I was warned that you were coming. I am authorized to deal with you. Why are you here? I'm here about your war with the Owen. Really? He checks the scroll again. Well, this is welcome. Or not welcome. It's not for me to say. That is to be decided in Tablen. If you ask permission to pass, I can let you go. I can let you through the gates. Have you been commander here long?
Oh no, only a month. I was training for the war, actually. Then there was a call. Someone was needed urgently to replace my predecessor.
What happened to your predecessor?
She was a veteran of old Owen uprisings, so she was sent east after we lost quite a few good soldiers in an ambush near Merba. She's a leader and a trainer. I could only go fight. So they sent her and put me in charge of the papers and rules here.
You could only go fight? Sure. What do you think of the Owen?
Most of them are good, solid Vol, doing their best to honorably pay their debts off and make our people strong. The rebels, though, they're willing to kill rather than face the consequences of their actions. They must be defeated.
Yeah, their actions of living in a country with high taxes. That sounds about right. You don't think the Owen system is unjust?
No, not at all. And though, he thinks, we have had less trade in the last 20 years.
Sounds like a good thing.
Which meant more Vol becoming poor.
Which means more Vol becoming slaves.
Falling into debt.
Again, that's what I was saying.
Thus many more Vol become Owen in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
It is worrying. Still, it is not a problem to be solved with endless bloodshed.
No, it doesn't need to be endless bloodshed. We just need to kill you, and then it ends. Many Owen in this pass?
Of course. There are Owen with every merchant caravan, every army. Don't let it worry you. Most Owen are good and honorable.
Yeah, it's just the Masha that are not.
We find the occasional spy, but we take care of them, so don't worry.
Mm-hmm. I would like permission to pass through. Actually, I would like to trade.
Understandable. However, that is not really a trading. This is not really a trading post. We let merchants through. They don't tend to stay.
Can I get any stone?
When the rebellion is put down, I'm sure that our merchants will be rushing through here, eager to take our fine stone to Haven's forts. For now, we are worried about surviving.
Where should I go and shop? He consults some maps.
I know that the Tablin is eager to greet you. While you are there, our capital's merchants are the finest.
Okay, I would like permission to pass through. He leaves the office to give some orders, and then he returns.
The gates will be opened for you, Prince. You may proceed to the coast and to Tablin.
He checks the scroll one more time for safety.
Anything else you need?
Nope. I will see you later. And there it is. I can't go over there, though. It's a curious thing. Okay. So we got town people around here. I've been to Ukat, I think that person said. I just sort of didn't see that very well. Come deal with me, says Gemetti. This courtyard is for the inspection of travelers and wagons before they pass through the southern halls to the other side of the pass. A frenetically busy woman with a clipboard is directing traffic and interrogating confused travelers. When you get close, she cuts a confused Vol merchant off and turns to you. Ah, the Avonite, I'm Gemetti. I was told you were here? If you need directions, I can spare a moment. Yeah, I would like to trade. Really? Here? I mean, you can look around, but this isn't the place for high officials to get fancy trinkets. Excuse me. She interrupts the conversation to help direct a heavily laden wagon through the narrow gate to the south. Eventually, she returns. Sorry. Sure, things are more organized in Haven. Are you sure, or are you asking? Surely things are more organized in Haven. She's saying. Maybe it's the Lee that's missing. Anyway, what sort of things do you trade? Sometimes merchants exchange goods. A ton of straw, bales of cured leather. Valuable and useful, but not the sort of thing a diplomat needs when doing things. What do you think of Haven? We keep hearing rumors that you're coming to help us win the war against the Owen. I wouldn't say no, but I'm skeptical. Things never really work out that well. Yeah. You're also gonna die when I kill you all, maybe. I don't know if we're ever getting to that. I don't know. If she doesn't attack me, she's not dying, evidently, because it's impossible to attack the neutral characters. Tell me about this pass. Thanks to the war, this is the main route from the dry, miserable central Vol to the much less miserable coast. We're busy, as you can see. Please show us some mercy and don't make our lives harder. Stay in the allowed areas. Any problems with enemy attacks? No, so far. We get spies, but we're too far from Madraka to be attacked. We are still careful, though. These gates are old and hard to maintain. An Owen saboteur could do a lot of damage. Where shouldn't I go, then? Our guards and stores are upstairs. Outsiders are not allowed up there. Not even honored Havenite envoys. What's up there? Just machinery for the gates. Nothing you would find interesting. Well, I'm a Prince of Haven, and I was sent to help you. She nods. We are grateful, though we wonder what took you all so long. Still, these are the rules. We insist you stay out. Excuse me. And she runs off to settle an argument between a Vol refugee and an Achriel merchant. And that's that. And I can take that wood. I don't need that wood. But, we got the pass guard. And I think this is the pass. There's also more things in here. I wonder why there's so much stuff. It's like I will maybe one day be able to take all that stuff. Anyway, we're out of time for the day, so today is not the day when we take all that stuff. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Queen's Wish. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.